this sound is completely impossible on a regular flute. I just played a continuous glissando on a single pitch. I can also bend the pitch and make little micro changes with this particular head joint. So who is this head joint for before I get into a little bit of detail about it? It's for anybody who is curious about making different kinds of sounds on a flute. It's good for contemporary flute players. It's good for teachers of the flute, and it's really great for composers as well. So this is called a glissando head joint, and as you can see, it is slightly different from a standard flute head joint. It attaches to a regular flute body, and so it's not the flute itself, but it's the head joint that allows for these new sounds, and it slides like this. So there's an extra bit up here on this end of the head joint that is hollow inside. So you can see it's reflective, but it's hollow, and the tube slides along that way to make those slidey sounds. If I compare it to a regular standard head joint, it looks like this. So they look somewhat the same. They both have a lip plate. They both have an embouchure hole, right? They both attach the same way, but the glissando head joint has this extra bit here where these two wings go on the side of my face so that I can actually move the whole mechanism. And you'll notice that the glissando head joint is longer, right? Because it has to have that extra hollow space to slide the sound. And they both have crowns on the end, and this is a stopper here, which functions kind of like a crown. Let's hear some more. It's very cool. It's invented by the composer and flutist performer Robert Dick, so you can do some research about him if you don't know him. He's a fantastic performer as well as a composer. So let me show you a little bit more about what this lip plate actually looks like. So this is in home position, and when it's in home position, which means it's not extended this way, it's extended closer to the body of the flute, it's going to work exactly the same as a regular flute head joint. So you'll see that from this perspective, it looks pretty much the same as a regular flute head joint. You're going to blow across, the air column is going to split on this back wall here. You blow across that embouchure hole. So the difference is going to be here. And so these wings fit on either side of my face, and I use them to push the lip plate down or up. And you can control it pretty closely. So if I want to get a micro change, or if I want to get a half step change, I learn where that is on the tube, and then I can slide to that place. So it slides all the way down and then all the way back, or any tiny increment in between. Okay? Again, there's the hollow inside. So this whole part here is hollow. And one question that I get a lot that is not always obvious, how can it be closed, right? Because the crown here is exposed, and that normally is what closes the end of the tube on a regular flute head joint. So what we have here is a stopper. This white stopper basically acts as the crown, and it closes the that end of the flute so that it makes sounds. So here are a couple of examples. I've done some, but let's do some more. So if I want to do a really quick scoop, it's almost like a little grace note. I can also do longer changes. I can also slide and move my fingers here at the same time. That's a trill while I'm sliding. I can also just play other notes. So that was a chromatic scale while I'm sliding. So you can do lots and lots of different effects. I can also extend the lower range. So I have a B foot flute, but I can get lower than a B by playing a B and sliding all the way out. So it extends the lower range of the flute as well. So is it hard to play? Not really. It feels very much, once you get used to these, which you forget about quickly, very much like a regular flute head joint. The tricky part that does require lots and lots of ear training is learning where the different notes are that you're looking for. So if you want to move a half step, that doesn't mean that you always move the same amount. It depends on what you're playing here as to how much you move here. So you really kind of learn it on a case-by-case basis, but there are approximate amounts that you're always going to move. If you move a lot, you're going to get a big change. If you move a tiny bit, you're going to get a tiny change. But the specifics between those, you do kind of have to feel out for your particular use of the glissando head joint. Typically at this point, it is only used for new music. That's what I tend to specialize in. I work a lot with composers to create music that is used with the glissando head joint. The reason that I like it is because it takes a flute, which is a very old, arguably ancient instrument, and continues to push forward what it can actually do. So the flute has moved from a bone instrument from the beginning of human history. It's developed into a wood instrument and then a metal instrument with keys instead of just punched holes. And this is sort of just a step further in the development of the flute and what the flute can do. So I think it's really cool for that experimentation reason, which is why I work with composers to create new music for it. But it can be used for other purposes like ear training to help you really zone in on what different pitches sound like and the relationship between those pitches. If you want to learn more about the glissando head joint, or if you want to hear actual pieces that were composed for it, I'll drop that information below so that you can check it out. And if you have questions, feel free to send me a message.